Welcome to the Oral History Podcast, featuring stories from the oral history website voicesofoklahoma.com, where Oklahomans have given generously of their time to tell their life stories for present-day listeners and for generations to come. Our entire collection is available on the website voicesofoklahoma.com. Subscribe to be notified of new Oklahoma oral history podcasts. Here's another interesting storyteller from voicesofoklahoma.com. Jim Tygart was a World War II veteran who drove a Jeep during the D-Day invasion and other campaigns before being wounded in the Battle of the Bulge. The D-Day invasion launched on June 6, 1944. On the next day, Tygart went ashore at Omaha Beach, Normandy. It was in Belgium, after the start of the Battle of the Bulge in December 1944, that he was wounded. The explosion, which destroyed his Jeep, knocked him to the ground and left him with a serious leg wound. Tygart was awarded the Purple Heart and went on to a career as an aircraft instrument mechanic with Douglas Aircraft and later American Airlines. He was presented the French Legion of Merit Medal by the French consulate. Jim was 102 when he died, May 24, 2022. As you listen to Jim tell his story, you will feel close to the battlefields he experienced. Heard on the podcast and oral history website, voicesofoklahoma.com.
My name is John Erling. Today's date is December 8th, 2017. Jim, would you state your full name, please?
I'm James Lowell Tygart.
James Lowell?
Yes.
My middle name is Lowell, too, by the way.
It is. Lowell.
Yep. And how do you spell your last name?
Tygart.
Your date of birth?
March 31st, 1920.
Which makes your present age?
97.
Where are we recording this interview?
In Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, at my home.
And who is in the room with us?
My son, Delbert.
Delbert, nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Where were you born?
I was born in a log cabin in the hills of Missouri.
Where in Missouri?
The post office address was Aldridge, Missouri. That's 40 miles northwest of Springfield. Down in the hills, no electricity, no running water, no heat except the wood we cut.
You were born in a log cabin.
Yes, I was.
Abraham Lincoln was too, wasn't he?
Yes.
And you went on to serve your country as well. Your mother's name?
Norma, her maiden name was Freeze.
Where did she grow up?
She grew up in that same country right there.
What was her personality like?
She had a good personality because I never remember her switching me or anything. She threatened a few times, but I don't never remember her switching me or nothing.
Your father's name?
James Coy Tygart.
He grew up in that same area?
Yes.
Tell about his personality. What was he like?
Same way. I mean, of course, he was more of a disputarian, or to say the least. He kept you lined out.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
Had 3 sisters and 1 brother.
What did your father do for a living?
He's a farmer.
What kind of farming was that?
We had a 106 acres farm, and he raised everything there was to raise. He raised cows. We had about 8 or 10 horses. We raised our own food, raised our own pigs, raised our own sheep to shear, and raised geese to pick to fill up the feather beds. We were self-sufficient out there on that farm.
You lived there on that farm till you were how old?
Well, we moved there. I kind of remember going from Aldridge to the farm, which is 7 miles, in a horse and wagon with my dad. I kind of remember that, so I had to be somewhere around 3 or 4 years old.
And then you lived there for how many years?
About 17 years.
What do you recall doing for fun out there on the farm?
You had to make your own fun. The only fun you had was riding horses, and you was busy working. I mean, we milked about 12 or 15 cows. That was our cash crop, to milk. You just worked all the time. That was your fun.
What about schooling? Was it a one-room schoolhouse?
You'd be surprised. It had 3 rooms in it. Had the first 4 grades in one room and the next 4 grades in another, and then the last, not the high school, but 9th and 10th grade in the other room. When you got through the 10th grade, we had to go to Dadeville, Missouri, to the high school to get the last 2 grades.
What year did you graduate from high school?
1938.
You were how old then?
18.
How does the family get to Tulsa? Why did they come to Tulsa?
My dad had a sister that lived in Tulsa. She lived here on 6th Street in Lewis in a big house, and she rented out rooms for people. She bagged him and bagged him and bagged him to come to Tulsa, and he finally, with the hard work on the farm, did it. We came down here in 1939.
Where did you live when you came to Tulsa?
2627 East 5th Place, which is taken over by schools now.
That's in the TU area.
Yeah, I've been told that every time a piece of land comes for sale out there, that TU buys it up.
Yeah.
They're getting that whole section.
In the 30s, we had the Dust Bowl. We called them the Dirty 30s. We also had the Great Depression, started in 29, lasted until 41. Any thoughts about that or remembering hearing about it?
Well, I had things to happen. My sister was married to a highway engineer. And in the Dust Bowl days, they were shipped out in the Panhandle to build some roads out there. And I heard my sister talk about putting wet towels around the cracks in the door so they could breathe.
This was largely in western part of Oklahoma,
Yeah.
because here in Tulsa, you didn't feel the effects of
No,
Dust Bowl. What about the Depression? Stock market crashed October 29th.
Well, that didn't have nothing to do with us because we didn't have no stocks.
So it didn't affect your style of living or
No.
anything like that?
Nothing like that.
Then you're living in Tulsa and you're 18, 19 after high school?
Yes.
What are your first memories then of Tulsa and what you might have done for entertainment?
Well, the only entertainment I remember was going out to Mohawk Park with my sister. She and I would go out there for picnics. We also go downtown at the theaters. There are two of them down there. One on 4th Street, another on Main Street.
Do you remember any of the movies that you might have seen then?
No, I don't, but I remember one of them had the accordion that he played it in the intermission.
So the movies were cut into intermissions.
Oh, yeah, and he
And then-
played the accordion down there at the
Yeah.
intermission.
How about radio? Remember listening to radio much then?
That's the only thing we had was radio.
Remember listening to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR,
Yes,
his fireside chats?
yeah.
Remember in downtown Tulsa, the stores or grocery stores or hamburger places?
Denver Grill was down there, the main one. Up further on Denver was a White Castle hamburger joint.
Did you go out to eat a lot?
No, I didn't go out to eat. Didn't have money to do things like that.
You come to Tulsa at 18 years old, and what do you do then?
I went to National Biscuit Company at 10 North Guthrie and was unloading their boxcars of crackers and cookies or whatever they had unloaded, because most everything was hauled in there on the boxcar. And that was the first job I had, unloading them boxcars of crackers.
Did you stay there for a while? Did you get promoted?
Yes, after I unloaded for a while, I went to driving the truck, delivering crackers and stuff all over Tulsa to grocery stores. The main one I remember was going in the northeast Oklahoma area. We're talking about back when most of the roads were graveled and muddy. Highway 33 was paved, but it was narrow two-lane. When I got to 59 going into Grove, it was gravel. Of course, at that time, the Grand River Dam was being built. They probably
39,
closed
41.
the gate in 41. I'm not sure exact date.
39 and 40, yes.
I delivered in Bernice before it was moved. It was right in the middle of that, Bernice, Oklahoma. I delivered to that place before it was moved. Going out Highway 33, every 2 miles there's a little grocery store.
Oh.
They're not that way no more. But people back then, they could only go so far to get groceries.
Remember the brand of truck you drove?
Yeah, it was the International, 39 International. I didn't drive it that long, no, because in late 39, 40, 41 was when I got called. Roosevelt had initiated that all 21-year-olds would serve a year in the service. When I become 21 years old, they grabbed me right quick.
How did you feel about that?
I didn't know what to think about it, because,
Everybody else was doing it, I guess.
yeah,
1941, you went into the Army.
September of 41 I went in.
Okay. Where did you go for basic
Went
training?
to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and spent 3 months down there. On Pearl Harbor Day, I happened to be home that Sunday on a leave, and when that happened, they put out the order for everybody to return to their base. Well, I went back to Fort Sill, and they picked me up and sent me to San Antonio, Texas.
What were you going to do there?
Since I had the record of a truck driver, when I went down there the first morning I was there, The mess sergeant had me go with him to pick up supplies for our unit. He immediately found out that I knew how to drive a truck, so I was on my own from then on. He didn't go with me anymore.
So that was pretty good duty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. A lot was going on then when Pearl Harbor was attacked. War was underway already, and it was in 1941, the latter part of the year. The Germans were bombing London at that time. Even Buckingham Palace was hit in December of 41. And then, as you said, Pearl Harbor. We talk about Pearl Harbor, the attack by the Japanese, but Japan declared war on the United States, the United Kingdom. They invaded Thailand. They launched attacks on Hong Kong, Shanghai, Singapore, Wake Island. All that went on, and a lot of Americans just think it was Pearl Harbor, but they were after many countries at that time.
Yes.
The headlines you think about: December 11th, Germany and Italy declare war in the United States. The United States reciprocates, declares war in Germany and Italy. Japanese landings in the southern Philippine Islands. United States, United Kingdom declare war in Romania. The country had to be pretty nervous. You heard all this and wondering, what about your future?
Well, it probably wasn't as much as you think, because I had no television such thing, and daily service was not a radio, so there's a lot more going on than I realized probably.
On December 7th, 41, tell me exactly how you first heard about it.
I had been to church with my mother and father. When we came home from church, it turned the radio on, which was a normal thing, and it came over the radio. Immediately after that, the report came for us to report back to duty. I got to Oklahoma City on the bus, and then there's so many soldiers going back to Fort Sill that they couldn't catch a bus, so Fort Sill sent one up there to get us. There's so many soldiers, there wasn't enough buses to carry us. They had to come up and get us.
Was that a frightening experience, just not knowing where you're going to go?
It was frightening in a way, because you just didn't know what was going on. I've had a lot of people say, was you scared? I don't know how to answer that, because you was concerned more than scared. The people that got scared had a nervous breakdown and was shipped out. That's the only way I can answer that question.
Did that make you wonder if you were going to have a breakdown or not?
No, I never did have that feeling.
Did you feel that I need to guard against that?
I never did think about it at all.
Your mind wasn't even going there.
No.
You were assigned to a battalion?
A headquarters battery. Headquarters of the 2nd Division, which is the Indian Head Division. At that time, the only communication they had was radio, which was undependable. We had to tie the 12th, 15th, 37th, 38th Field Artillery together with a wire section. Like I said, radio wasn't dependable. The ones we had were line-of-sight radios. You had to get on top of a hill, so you had to get telephone wire. Our headquarters, that was our job, to tie up the 12th, 38th, 37th, and 15th Field Artillery together so they could talk to each other.
You were driving truck at that time?
I was driving the Jeep. I was on a wire truck for a while, what we call the wire truck, which had a crew on it laying wire along the by roads. But I didn't drive it for long, because I got into the Jeep driving. I don't know exactly what caused it.
What happens to you next after you're assigned to your battalion? Where do you go then?
That was in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
After we left, we did leave San Antonio, Texas. The year of 42, we loaded up and went to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. Got up there in September. We was up there all winter long. We was on snow skis, not pleasure skiing. We was skiing cross country, and I thought we was going to Russia. But it didn't turn out that way.
You were at Camp McCoy for how long?
We was there till September 1942.
Then what happens?
We got on a train. When we was rolled up ready to leave Camp McCoy, I had a sister that had a childbirth and was on her deathbed. And I got emergency leave with a captain to come to Tulsa to see my sister, which turned out to be a mistake because she was in a coma and never did know I was there. But I only had 24 hours. I asked battery commander, what happened if she died? And he said, you be right back here.
You wouldn't be able to stay for a funeral or anything?
No.
Yeah. Well, it was nice they let you go.
Yes, it was.
Do you leave Camp McCoy then?
On a train and went to New York. I don't remember the place was at there in New York while I was on bivouac to get out. But anyway, was there 2 or 3 days when we got on the boat, a Liberty ship. It's an old cargo ship, but it ain't very big. We got out in the rough water. Everybody got sick except Jim. Everybody got sick. I had all kinds of duties to do. Even up on the bridge, the captain's man got sick, and I had to take over his radio. So I had contact with our convoy of ships going across the Atlantic all the time.
You're headed to where?
Well, I didn't know where we was headed to. We just out to the water, but we landed in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
On that journey, you didn't know where you were going until you reached your destination.
Right. Our ships were zigzagged because at that time, the Germans had control of the Atlantic Ocean. And I was swore to secrecy on what I heard on the radio because I'd hear where a submarine was out here, a submarine was over here, and I couldn't go down there and tell the rest of the guys about that. I had to keep it up here.
Huh. So you were in control of that ship then for a while?
Just the radio, yeah. One time, the battleship that was with us left his course and headed out across here, and the commander of our ship got all nervous. I knew what was going on. He was going over there to pick up a radio to take to one of the other ships that lost their radio. Finally, he asked me what was going on, and I told him. He said, "Why didn't you tell me?"
That in itself was a major initiation into...
Yeah, what was going on.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
In Belfast, how long are you there and what's going on there then?
We went to Gosford Castle, Northern Ireland. That's up by Armagh. It was a castle. Had a brick wall all the way around it. They had hutches built all around this thing. We went in there and we landed about midnight that night and filled up our mattress ticks with straw and put it in these hutches and slept on them.
You're about 21 years old here, aren't you?
I've got plumb up to 22 or 23 by now.
All right.
Yeah.
You're in this castle?
Well, majority of our 110 people thereabout were in these hutches. I was in the castle in the one room that we had. That's all they'd let us have is that one room in the castle. Them people over there, they take care of them castles, and they don't want them destroyed. But we had one room for the switchboard operator. And since I was driving a Jeep and had to be on notice to go here or there or wherever, I got to stay in that room.
What was the purpose of being in that castle?
Well, we knew we were going somewhere, but we had no idea where because we stayed there in that castle till March of 44. Then we went down through Scotland, through England. This is on a convoy, a forced march we call them. We went through England down to Wales. We stayed there about a month. We knew we was fixing to do something. Of course, we didn't know what was going on. My Jeep, I waterproofed it while I was there. Was there at that place for about 30 days, and it was waterproof so it'd run underwater.
What did you think was going to happen?
I knew that Jeep was going to get wet somewhere.
Yeah. Right.
But I didn't have no idea where. At the time down in South America and all that stuff was going on, and Italy was going on. Of course, I wasn't in good contact with that because the only contact you had was radio, and I didn't have a radio. Mm-hmm. I didn't much know what was going on, but I knew I was waterproofing my Jeep to get it wet. We loaded up on one of these Liberty ships again, and it was so crowded that they signed you a spot to sleep 8 hours, and you had to get up and turn that spot to somebody else. But I didn't go down there. I found out what was going on, and I stayed up on the deck. I didn't want down in that hole.
Where did you sleep?
On the deck.
In the open air?
Yeah, in the open air.
And the sea breeze and the water coming on?
Well, most of the shrapnel falling out of the sky from the fights going on above you.
So you were taking...
Oh, yeah, we was taking hits. Not direct hits, just shrapnel coming out from all the gunfights that's going on above you.
So you're still wondering where you're going?
Right.
This is 1944.
Yeah.
And it would have been sometime in May that you were there.
Yes.
We're leading up to June 6th, 1944.
Yeah.
and that was the invasion finally kicking off at Normandy. This was the largest seaborne invasion in our history, and it began the liberation of France. When did you realize you were part of the invasion?
We sat out there in that bay off the coast. I didn't know what coast it was. Well, I knew it was somewhere around the German coast. We sat out there probably 3 or 4 days because if you look at history, the weather got bad and the waves got high, and Eisenhower put the launch off for a day or two. I don't know exactly how many days because of high seas and high wind.
And you still don't know what's going to happen yet, do you?
No.
So he put it off, but then June 6th, the invasion finally kicked off at Normandy.
Yes.
Did you know then, on that date, what was going on?
In a way, you knew what was going on, but you didn't realize the mass production of it.
Forces went in at Omaha Beach.
We put my Jeep on a landing craft, and me in it. We pushed up to the water, and they flapped the door down, and I drove off into the water. And the water was only about 2 or 3 feet deep, and I said, this wasn't bad. I didn't even need to waterproof it. This is just going through your head, you know. But about that time, I hit a shell hole or something and then dunked the whole thing. And guess what? It just kept right on running.
You've done a good job of waterproofing it.
Yes.
You remember what you did to waterproof it? Tell us about that.
It's what we call elephant gunk. It's just a very putty-like stuff that doesn't get hard or brittle or anything like that. And of course, back then, the only thing you had to waterproof was the headlights, generator, battery, and underneath the dashboard. That took care of it.
That's amazing, isn't it? That engine did not stop.
Did not stop, no, sir.
And we should say this is the next day after the initial invasion. This would be June 7th,
Yes.
the second wave that comes in.
Yeah.
The Jeep is underwater. You're floating
Oh, I just stayed right with it.
underwater?
Yeah.
Okay, how long does this last?
Oh, just a couple of seconds. I just drove right on out.
Some guys might have panicked
Well,
and let loose of the wheel,
no.
but you stayed with
Oh,
the
yeah.
Jeep.
I just kept right on running.
I suppose since you knew the engine was running,
Yeah.
and you probably couldn't see anything.
Well, it wasn't quite that deep. It just probably waist deep or more.
This was daylight.
Yeah, it was daylight.
The Jeep is underwater, and you drive it. You surface pretty fast then.
Yeah, right on out.
Wow. You wondered, is it going to get any worse than this? That was then on Omaha Beach.
Yes.
What did you see?
Well, it was destruction. I've heard people say that they stepped over dead bodies. Well, I didn't experience that because people understood that if you had to step over an American soldier, why, that was depressing to you. There's a lot of dead Germans, but not dead Americans. There's supposedly 15,000 people got killed that day of June the 6th.
Yeah.
But I never did see none of them 15,000. I mean, a few of them, but not.
So you're saying they'd picked up the bodies already before you guys came
Yeah.
in? So then is shrapnel coming on? Are the Germans shooting at you?
Oh, definitely. The first thing you do, I took a captain in, and I don't know where he went to. I know where I went to. I took my Jeep, camouflaged it, and dug a foxhole so
Okay.
that I could get in it in case I needed to. That's the first thing you always done was dig you a foxhole to hide from the shrapnel and the bullets or whatever.
How deep would a foxhole be?
Just probably 2 feet
Enough to get under,
ground level.
right. You know, a couple of summers ago, my family and I traveled and we visited Normandy and Omaha Beach. And I remember those big cliffs.
Yeah,
I marveled at how those soldiers rappelled up
Yeah.
those cliffs.
yeah,
That was pretty amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You and I are looking at the same scene right now.
yeah.
Pretty amazing.
But I went in on the beach, not the cliff.
I understand.
Yes.
Right. They had done that.
Yeah.
Tell me about soldiers around you. How are they handling this? Because they knew, and you knew too, that you could get shot any moment. Is that true?
Yeah, that was a realistic thing that you could get shot, and you knew it. My staff sergeant got shot the second day I was there. Not just wounded, but dead. And that puts you on service that you could get shot.
How did that work for you? Did it embolden you, just say, I don't care? Or did it make you slink back and get nervous? How did you handle that?
I don't know. I really don't know how I handled it. I think, like I've said before, it was more of a concern than it was fear. One thing we had to watch, the French girls over there in that area had got friendly with the German soldiers, and they were sniping our soldiers, killing us, because they thought more of the German soldiers been there with them for 4 years than they did of us.
Explain that again.
Germans had occupied France for about 4 years.
Yes.
And them soldiers had been in that area. Well, these French girls had got acquainted with them, and they liked them. And they were snipers for the Germans.
Wow.
Yeah. So you couldn't trust the Frenchmen even.
Snipers, meaning they had weapons with them.
Yes.
I remember the bunkers that the Germans had dug in as we went up on land. And I remember being impressed how they were all concrete. And of course, as you said, they lived there for 4 years. This was a major deal and major areas for sleeping. It wasn't just a dugout. That was a major bunker.
Right around the peninsula, which is mileage-wise probably 30 miles, was Brest. And that was a German submarine base. Our first deal was to capture what they called Hill 192. It was the high point in that area. And we were there probably for 6 weeks of capturing that Hill 192. After we got Hill 192 captured, we moved around the peninsula to get the Germans out of that Brest submarine base, and that took us another 6 weeks. By that time, the regular army outfit had marched mostly across France and had captured all that France area. Of course, the Germans didn't really fight much in France. They just moved from back to the Rhine River and things like that.
Was there a time you thought, I'm just never going to get out of this?
Well, that was part of it all the time.
Yeah. You figured, I got to do my job. I may not get out of it, so
Yeah.
let's just go ahead and perform our job. So after you captured Brest, France, then you moved on to where?
We moved on to Saint-Vith, Belgium.
The Germans were pretty easy to push back then, apparently, at that time.
Other divisions had already cleared that out. When we left Brest, we just convoyed straight to Saint-Vith, Belgium.
They were basically on the run.
Yeah, they had already moved back. They did not do a lot of fighting in France to try to save it.
But that didn't mean that you were not going to come under fire,
No.
because they were shelling, you were staying in a house.
Well, while we were in Saint-Vith, the Germans had invented this buzz bomb. You probably heard of it. They was shooting them over us. It really wasn't dangerous, but you could hear them a-coming. Buzz, slow, slow, slow. And you could probably hear them for 5 minutes, and then they'd shut off when they run out of fuel, and down they'd go and it'd blow up. But they couldn't aim them to nobody. So it worked on you up here. They wasn't dangerous, just the mental thing. When you hear them all night long, it kept you awake.
Because you never knew where that was going
To shut off.
Yeah.
And you could hear them for, I don't know, it seemed like 5-10 minutes coming.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden they run out of fuel and down they go and blow up.
This was leading to a big battle then, wasn't it?
When the Germans invaded at the Belgian Bulge, they call it.
The Battle of the Bulge.
Battle of the Bulge, yes.
Right.
It was in Elsenborn, Belgium.
This was the last major German offensive of Western Europe.
Yes, it was. When they started the Belgian Bulge, it happened in the nighttime. The Germans were shelling us bad. It was in a farmhouse in Elsenborn. We knew that something was going on, and at daylight, our captain sent me and my Jeep and my radio up on the hill to watch for German tanks. Sure enough, down there about a quarter of a mile was 2 of them. I didn't know at the time, but they had run out of fuel, which I'm glad that they had, but I didn't know it then.
So you brought that report back.
Yeah, when we went back that evening, that's when we made our big retreat. We had to get out of there and change positions.
You heard the incoming German shells.
As the nighttime when we was trying to sleep. This was wintertime. There's probably 6 to 8 inches of snow on the ground. It was not zero weather, but it was probably 28 degrees sloppy weather.
Wow. You're cold all the time, weren't you?
Yeah.
But one of those bombs eventually hit you.
I was at an anti-tank destroyer headquarters one night. I took a captain over there, and I was on my radio out in front in my Jeep, and I heard the German 88 millimeters coming.
A whistling sound?
Yeah. So I jumped out of my Jeep and headed for this house where their office was. The shell hit behind me. It probably knocked me 8-10 feet before I got in the door of this house. Inside this house was a basement. There's other soldiers there, and they helped me down in that basement. We had to stay in there probably for 30, 40 minutes while we was being shelled.
But you were hit by shrapnel.
Yes.
Everybody else got in ahead of you.
Yes.
You were the last one to
I
get
was
in.
the last one to get in.
And you were the first one to get hit.
Yeah. I don't know how many of them got hit, but as far as I know, I was the only one.
Which leg is it?
Right.
Tell us what's happening. Do you feel it, or you get numb, or what happened?
Well, the first thing I felt was blood running down my leg. When I reached down there to see what was wrong with my leg, I got blood on my hand, and when the shelling was over with, the other soldiers got me out of there and put me into a medical unit. Of course, I didn't know at the time I was hurt that bad. I didn't feel that bad. But when they put me in the ambulance, I was setting up. They had 2 stretchers in there and a row of seats over here for other people. When we got to the first field hospital, I got out of that ambulance and I fell. The nurse said, put him on a stretcher. So they got me on the stretcher. I began to realize then that I had a problem.
Let's go back to your Jeep. Did your Jeep make it through that attack?
Oh, no. When I came out of that house, it was just a massive tin. It had been hit directly. I don't know which shell got it. You know, there's more than one came in there at the time. But one of them hit it directly. Blew it all to pieces.
The Jeep that you had put so much time into?
Yeah.
Are you thinking, well, I could have been killed, and so maybe having your leg hit wasn't so bad?
Yeah, I thought I was pretty fortunate.
You realize how serious this leg injury is.
That was the 21st. They got me back on the hospital train to Paris, France. And the 25th of December, I was laying in an auditorium like on a stretcher. I was still in my old dirty clothes. I'd been cut off of me, part of them, but I was still in my old dirty clothes.
You'd been in those clothes for how long?
I ain't no telling how long.
Weeks.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks.
They ripped the clothes off you.
And wrapped up my leg. They didn't know what was wrong with me or anything else, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. They just wrapped it up like that and sent you on to France. I was there Christmas Day in 1944, and the little French girls came through there singing Christmas carols to everybody that was in there.
When do the doctors know that you have shrapnel in your leg? When does that become known?
It became known after I left there. I was put on a train to some part of France. I don't know what part. And I was put on to a hospital ship. They were all white and had a cross on top of them. It was, you know, international law that you can't bomb them things. I was put on one of them, and I told the girls when they put me in bed, it's the first white sheet I've saw in 3
I
years.
suppose it was. Let's go back as you were lying on the stretcher in this auditorium. It was Christmas Day. You had to feel pretty down.
Oh, I was crying. I was. I definitely was crying.
Probably thought it was the worst day of your life.
Yeah.
And here we're coming up to Christmas here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Your thoughts probably go back to that day and how fortunate you were from that day forward
Yeah.
to this life that you've been able to live here.
Yes.
But at that time, you didn't know that.
No.
What about your family back in Tulsa? What do they know about what's going on?
I have no idea when my mother got the notice. My sister said that she had to come home to console her.
Yeah. The emotion's still with you all these years, and that's very understandable.
I am an emotional person.
Yeah. When did you learn more about what the shrapnel had done to your leg?
When I got to England, my leg was paralyzed. I had what you call drop foot.
Oh.
I got to England, and the doctor there said that he would do more damage to get the shrapnel out of my leg than to leave it in there. But my leg was burning like fire because it had hit the nerve.
The sciatic nerve?
Yes, hit the sciatic nerve.
Yeah.
It didn't cut it in two. If it cut it in two, I'd been paralyzed for life.
Wow.
But since it didn't cut it in two, it regenerated, but it took a lot of years to do it. I was in the bed in England, and this ward nurse boy, or we call him ward man, he was actually an Army nurse. I was in bed. He said, "What are you doing in bed?" Because, I was in pretty good shape. I said, "I can't walk." And he went and got me a shoe, put a bungee cord on it, and tied it up to my knee and said, "Take off."
And then you were on crutches.
I did have crutches, yeah, but I walked with the bungee cord.
Explain that. I'm trying to see that. They put a bungee cord on your ankle?
On the toe of my boot.
Okay.
And tied it up to my knee.
Oh.
To hold that drop foot up. The foot was floppy.
You didn't have any control over it,
No.
right? That gave you control. So then you were able to walk that way?
Yes, I was able to walk. Not good, but walk.
What was to be accomplished by that?
Just get you out of bed. That's a major thing, get you out of bed.
Yeah. You were awarded a Purple Heart for this, weren't you?
Yes.
Then you had a long recovery ahead of you.
When I got out of the hospital in England, they put me on the Queen Elizabeth to bring me back to the United States.
What year are we talking about now?
We're talking about 44.
That was December. You spent Christmas Day there, right, in 44. So you're coming back to the United States.
Landed in New York City. I don't know what day it was, but they came in there at daylight, and I'm sure they'd done it on purpose so we could see the Statue of Liberty.
What a thrill that had to be.
Yeah.
Cheering.
No cheering because there wasn't nobody there when we got there, no.
You were on a ship with many, many other soldiers.
Yes.
They must have been cheering to see
No
that
doubt.
sound. Wow. Then
I was put on a hospital train and shipped to Temple, Texas. They had an Army hospital down there. Maybe still be there, I don't know. I was there until July.
45.
Yeah.
What are you thinking here? You've got this wound. It comes from the battle with the Germans. What's going through your head? Is it making you mad, sad, or what's going on?
I don't think I was sad. I think I was just glad to be alive. That's the way I figured it. I thought I was pretty fortunate because there's lots of them that wasn't.
Thousands went on Omaha Beach. Up to 10,000 soldiers were lost.
Yeah,
And you could have easily been one of them.
could have been.
Do you ever think, why me?
I've thought it many times, yeah.
Do you remember bullets coming close to you or feeling them around you,
Not bullets, shrapnel.
which could have killed you?
Yeah.
Came very close to you when you came on the beach?
Oh, yeah. Our worst time was in the Belgian Bulge.
Okay.
It was the closest we had to the bullets and whatnot,
All right.
was in the Belgian Bulge.
And that's when you were taking fire
Yeah,
and thought,
Yeah.
any one of these could be hitting me.
right.
And it hit people close to you?
Oh, yes, but field artillery was not a high casualty outfit. And I was in the field artillery. The infantry boys was the one that got shot
Yeah.
and got shot and got
Right.
shot. We did not have to deal with rifle fire. We had to do with heavy artillery fire, but not rifle fire.
They say there are no atheists in foxholes.
I don't think so.
I interviewed another veteran. He made several landings on beaches, and he was in the Marines. He said he could hear other soldiers crying out, "Mama, Mama, Mama." He says, here we are, these brave Marines, and soldiers were calling for their mother. I don't know if you heard any of that, or
No.
praying to
No.
God or whatever.
No, I didn't hear none of that.
We've got you back in the United States, and you're in a medical hospital in Temple, Texas.
Yes.
How long are you there?
I was there until September of 45.
That had to be a long time for you.
Yeah.
Because you were waiting for this nerve to heal?
No, they just done all their operations on me, and actually they gave me a leave before I got discharged. I came back to Tulsa on a leave, and I was here about 2 or 3 weeks or a month, and went back, and they handed me a Purple Heart and discharge.
How many operations did you have on your leg?
This is one operation because the sciatic nerve was not cut in two.
Mm-hmm.
They said in 90-some-odd% cut in two. They cut me from about this far below to here. In the back, they did the same thing. I don't know why they have to cut you that far to operate on your nerve, but they did.
You're holding about a foot there.
Yeah, it's at least a foot from
Yeah.
here to here. I don't know whether they pull it down there and tie it together or what.
And again, they did not take the shrapnel out.
The doctor says that we'll do more damage by going after it than we'll by leaving it. It's still there. I've seen x-rays of it, and it looks like the size of my thumbnail.
And no effects of it after leaving it in there.
No, sir. Other than I have a numb leg, from here on down.
Today, you have a numb leg
Not completely numb, just to skin flesh, or whatever you want to call it.
to the touch.
Yeah.
So that's a reminder always.
You don't never get to forget it.
Yeah, it lingers. What about food you ate over there?
When we landed over there, we ate these rations, K rations and 3 for 1 and this type thing. Never had no food probably for 3 or 4 months. And the doctor would tell you your stomach don't shrink up, but I say it will shrink up. Because when I got regular food, I couldn't eat very much for a while. It was probably 3 or 4 months after we landed on the beach before I got regular food. Was eating K rations or 3 in 1. They have a little can of stuff, concentrated food, package of gum, and a cigarette pack.
That came in the ration?
Oh yeah, they taught you to smoke.
Did you smoke?
Yeah, I did for a while, but I quit. I didn't smoke long.
But that was really tasteless after a while, huh?
Oh yeah, terrible.
You must have lost weight. How much did you weigh when you were in battle?
I think 128. But physically, I was in beautiful shape because when we was in Wisconsin on snow skis, if you wasn't in good shape, you didn't last long. You went on a 15-mile hike, you had to be in good shape.
Yeah.
You've been on training yourself, you know what you have to do.
Yeah.
Of course, the worst thing I'd ever done was when we took hikes on snowshoes. A snowshoe will beat you up in a hurry.
And you didn't have to do any work with snow after you left Camp McCoy.
No, that's right. It snowed on us in France, but then that was just regular snow. Didn't amount to nothing.
So you're discharged. Did you have nightmares?
I slept next to my sister on 5th place, and she woke me up many times at night.
Yeah.
She took them.
So you would see in your dreams.
I just don't know what they were. She had to wake me up.
Did that last for years of nightmares?
No, I don't think so. I think probably 6 or 8 months.
How frightening that had to be. After you were discharged, you come back to Tulsa, and it's just time for you to get your bearings again, right?
Yeah.
Did you visit doctors here about your leg when you came back?
They had a medical doctor right on the curve on 11th Street where Warehouse Market used to be. Now there's a lumber company there, and I went to see him a number of times.
How old are you when you got discharged?
25.
And that was in 1945.
Yeah.
So you're asking yourself, what do I do now?
Yeah. I originally went back to Nabisco. I enjoyed that job, but I soon seen that with my drop foot brace that I couldn't handle a job. So, they give the GI Bill.
Yes.
I went out to TU. I was going to go to TU and get a degree. Well, I went out there and he interviewed me, and I had graduated from high school, but he said your credits won't get you in TU. So I couldn't get in TU. I ended up going to Spartan Aircraft Aeronautical School, and I spent 18 months in that school learning the trade.
That trade then was what?
Aircraft instrument repair.
And you worked for?
After I got out of school, I originally went to Douglas Aircraft. Douglas were doing government contract jobs. It was not a secure job because they're doing government contracts. We had a big job coming to us when Kennedy got elected, was a Skyboat missile. He said, when I get elected, I'm canceling that. Well, sure enough, he did. When he got elected, well, I went out to Douglas, and they'd already took my time card, and everybody else is in that thing and laid you off.
That was President Kennedy you were talking about.
Yeah.
And you were laid off.
Yeah. So I went to American Airlines and got a steady job.
And you were there till you retired?
Yes.
When did you retire?
1983.
We didn't talk about your getting married. When did you get married?
After I came home from the Army, my wife's cousin was married to a guy I was working with at National Biscuit Company. He said, we're having a weenie roast somewhere over on West Tulsa at the park. You want to come over? And I went over there, and the weenie roast, and Betty was there, and that's where I got introduced to Betty, my wife.
Was that love at first sight?
Yeah. I was getting old by that time. I was already 25 years old, and I didn't want to stay single all my life.
And how old was she?
She was just 21.
So then you were married in 1947?
August the 16th, 1947.
How many children did you have?
2.
2 sons.
Yeah. She wanted a girl real bad because she liked to sew. But she only had 1 kidney, and the doctor wouldn't let her get pregnant no more.
The names then of your sons?
Delbert Lee.
Delbert Lee.
Yeah.
He's here listening
Yes.
to us. And the other son's name?
Darrell Wayne.
Darrell Wayne.
Yeah.
You're living then in Tulsa. You're working American Airlines in the 50s.
Yeah.
Life is pretty good, isn't it?
Very good. Making a lot of money.
And a good retirement pay.
Yeah.
What about movies and radio and hamburger places? Can you kind of create for us what you saw Tulsa to be then?
It's all pretty scarce. You didn't eat out a lot because, first thing, Betty liked to cook, and she was a good cook. So you pretty much stayed at home. I mean, money wasn't that plentiful. You didn't have money to spare. You just had money to live by. Of course, I didn't do things like a lot of people do. I didn't buy stuff on the credit. If I couldn't pay for it, I didn't get it. I still believe that today.
That's a good way to live. Betty has passed on now, hasn't she?
Yes, she's been gone for 6 years.
Okay. Where did you and Betty live at that time?
When I met her, she's on South Cheyenne, 1200 block, which is under the loop downtown now.
And living out here in Broken Arrow, this was way off in Never Land, wasn't it?
Yes.
Downtown was downtown at 5th
Right.
and Boston and
Yeah.
Maine and all
Yeah.
that. Do you remember shopping in those stores?
The one I remember more than anything was Cress's, which is 3rd and Main. And then over on Boston was the uniform people. That's where I got my Nabisco uniform to wear.
Do you remember Vandiver's department store?
Oh, yeah, Vandiver's and Cress's and
Clark's Good Clothes?
Clark's, Brown Duncan.
Pizza hadn't come in yet, or had it?
Oh, no, I never heard of pizza.
Right. It's interesting, people think that was around forever, but it wasn't. I don't know when pizza came in, if it was sometime in the 50s, maybe 60s.
Yeah,
What was your favorite hamburger place?
the White Knight
The White Knight.
on Denver, about 5th Street, I think.
You were talking about your drop foot. Did that linger with you? Do you still walk with a drop foot?
No, I wore the drop foot brace for probably 12 years. I'm not sure exactly, but 12, 15 years. And then it got to where I could do without it.
The nerve was taking that long to
To heal.
Did you ever think you'd come out of this, ever?
No, I didn't realize it was going to get that good.
And now you walk normally.
I'm not as good as you are, or not as good as he is. I have to watch where I put my foot more, because I could have a sprained ankle real easy. But other than that, it's normal. I consider it to be normal.
You're in good health. You appear to be right now at 97 years old.
I don't take no medicine,
Wow.
none whatsoever.
Doctors must wonder what's wrong with you. You don't take medicine.
Yeah,
Isn't that something?
it is. I'm very thankful for it.
And you live in this home by yourself?
It's lonesome too.
I'm sure it is. But you're capable. Do you drive?
Yes, I do drive.
So you are that independent and you can go to the grocery store?
Yes,
You are blessed.
I am very much so.
But you have a son nearby who comes and visits you a lot?
He's got his eyeballs on me all the time.
Pretty independent, and that's amazing. You're 97. How old was your father when he died?
My father was 98, but he liked 8 days to being 99. So we're going to say 99.
Yeah, absolutely. You look forward to being 100?
If my health is good, I look forward to it yet. I went to my stockbroker the other day, and he had me listed on his sheet at 103.
So they figured out if somebody's made it to 97 in good health, you could be living to 103.
Yeah.
That is great. What kind of advice do you give to children, to grandchildren, great-grandchildren?
Well, it's kind of sad to say, but I don't have to advise them on nothing. They take care of themselves.
What about young people listening to your story? They're coming on and they're living their life. They have the freedoms of America. You fought to protect those freedoms. and you remember it every day in your leg. What do you say to those young people?
Just be thankful for what you have, because it could be much worse.
Who knows what the world would be today if the United States hadn't pushed Germany back?
I look back at what went on, and Hitler, if he hadn't attacked so many fronts at the same time, he would have gave us a lot more problem than we had. But if you remember, he was fighting us and Russia at the same time.
Yeah.
And that just didn't work out.
What have been your thoughts about patriotism over the years? Do you think America is patriotic enough? Are we paying?
No, I don't think they are, no. I don't think the younger generation of the people realize what went on or what could have happened if we hadn't won that war.
No, they don't. And it's one of the reasons we talk to you, so they can hear what you went through and kind of give them a little bit of an idea what went on.
Yeah.
We've had these football players taking a knee at the national anthem.
That makes me so mad. If I see it happen, I'll turn that television off. Jerry Jones was one that said they're not going to play for me if they take a knee, and I'm thankful for him for that.
For the sake of history, those who listen back to this, it was the quarterback Kaepernick from the San Francisco 49ers who took a knee during the national anthem because of racial issues that he thought were unfair, and then it's become a major issue in the United States.
Yeah.
And then our president, President Trump, said, if you take a knee, you shouldn't play. And then they were taking a knee in spite of him, so it kind of snowballed.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to take a knee, you're saying, for any reason.
Not when the national anthem's being played, no, sir. Some people call it the freedom of speech, and I don't know exactly what the freedom of speech should entail, but it shouldn't entail that.
I sit here in admiration for what you did and what you went through. I'm so glad that you told your story. It needs to be heard, and it will be remembered now forever. And I might say that you might agree with me here, that if I ever see a veteran, maybe he has a cap on or something, you don't have to say much to them. I just walk up and say, thank you for your service, shake their hand, and walk off. You don't have to stand there and engage in long conversation, but just acknowledge it. Would you agree?
Yes.
People have done that to you, have they?
Yes, I have. But I kind of dodge that type thing. And I have a cap with all of my medals and that thing on it, but I don't wear it because I don't like to be recognized.
You said medals. Did you receive more than the Purple Heart?
I'll just show you.
You have them here framed. The Purple Heart's right here in the middle.
Yes.
And what are some of these other medals that you received?
It's on the back there. They're listed what they are. They're different medals.
American Defense Service Medal Set Victory World War II, European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign, Medal Set American Campaign, regular size. We give them credit. The Frame House and Broken Arrow put this all together.
Oh, yeah.
The Indian...
That's the division I was in.
That division was...
2nd Division.
Field Artillery.
Yeah, they had the infantry people, field artillery, and all the other things that went with it. In the division, there's approximately 16,000 people.
This currency that's here, what is that?
That's a British pound. When I was in Wales, I knew we was going somewhere, or didn't know where we was going. And that's everybody in our unit I got to sign that pound.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there are all the names in your unit.
They're all there.
What was your grade when you left?
Not very much. 5th grade.
5th grade tech.
Yeah.
Well, I can say on this piece here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 medals that you received for your service.
And this is the Bronze Stars.
We didn't mention that, did we?
No. How many is there? 3 or 5? I forgot which it is.
It says here you were in the European theater, received the Purple Heart, 3 Bronze Stars, 2 overseas service bars.
Okay.
And this is honoring you, World War II honoree. When did you receive that? Is that recent?
I don't know how long I've had it.
Is this the World War II in Washington, D.C. memorial?
Yeah.
Were you there?
Yeah. He used to take care of that. That was
honor flights.
That was his job for a long time.
The honor flights to take veterans back. Were you able ever to travel back to France or Normandy?
He tried to get me to go, but I just haven't had the urge to go. No, I have not been.
Probably didn't want to bring up those memories again. Well, thank you, Jim, first of all, for your service.
Yes, sir.
It's to be highly commended, and we thank you for it. And thank you for telling your story here today.
Yes.
You did a really good job.
Thank you.
With respect, I thank you.
You have been listening to the Voices of Oklahoma podcast, stories taken from the oral history website, voicesofoklahoma.com. At the website, you will discover an array of storytellers. Many you will know. Some will be new to you, but all will be worth your time. This work depends on listeners like you, who are interested in learning about the great people of Oklahoma. Our website provides an opportunity to donate to this 501c3 project, which preserves Oklahoma history, one voice at a time. voicesofoklahoma.com.